All right, what is up, you guys? It's been a while, but welcome back. Today I'm out here in Galveston Bay, like always, and we're just trying to go after trout, redfish, flounder, you know, the normal 3. And yeah, it's a great day. The wind's blowing probably like 6 miles an hour, maybe a little bit more. It's starting to pick up throughout the day. We had some tide movement this morning, and it's just a nice sunny day, probably about 70 degrees. So couldn't ask for better weather. And the tides were super low whenever I was driving down here. So we came to this spot, and with David right back there, by the way. We came to this spot, and there's a reef out here, and you can only get to it when the tide's super low. Otherwise you'd be up to your chest trying to walk out there. So we came out here. David already caught a flounder and a nice trout that is on the stringer, and I've yet to catch anything real broke, but that's all good. We're rigging it up, so it's gonna work for the rest of the day, hopefully. And we're gonna see if we can get in something. We are throwing lures right now. I'm throwing a 1/8 ounce jig head with a down south plum chartreuse, but we did also pick up some shrimp. So if I don't get anything on this, we'll switch over to the shrimp. There's a bunch of bait out here, and there was more when we got here, probably about an hour ago. It was scattered everywhere. But right now it's kind of dissipated a little bit, but there is still a good amount. So hopefully we'll get in some more fish. Y'all stay tuned, and let's go over to the GoPro mount and see what happens. David hooked up on a big trout out here. Hey! There we go. It's like a 20-inch trout. And we're fishing shallow right now, knee deep. Nice. There's a fish. Yes, sir. That's a trout. No, that's a little redfish. No way. There we go. A little bitty redfish. It's a good sign though. My first fish of the day. Moved up here on the reef finally. We've been working our way out here very slowly because David caught all of his fish back over there. So we took our time, worked out here, but once the bait kind of spread, we decided to move up, and first fish, little guy, nothing to speak of, but still. Try to pop this hook out. All right, we'll get him back. All right, so I broke off the cast right after that redfish. So I just tied on a little soft line, toss this thing around. But also, y'all check out the reel. I said it was broke, but basically the little bail thing, the flip snapped out of here. So I just went ahead and broke it off. So now what I do, pop the line out. It still works. Just kind of falls out every once in a while, which is no big deal. Pops out, and then just lay it back in. I'm actually gonna work this pretty quick because it's super shallow. And then once we get up here and start casting to this deeper water on the other side of the reef, I'll slow it down. All right, so we just got to this reef, and it looks like there may be a slick right there. Coming from me, I don't know if y'all can see it. We're gonna see if there's any fish. Now, the wind's blowing that way, or from our backs. So if there's a slick there, the fish should be on this side of the slick. That's right on it. So many fish out here, guys. Slicks popping everywhere, but struggle to get a bite. You think with all these popping up that they'd be biting, but what I'm noticing is that they're popping up off the reef quite a bit. So where it starts getting deeper, maybe in the, instead of the 1.5 to 2 foot area on top of the reef, they're popping up in the 4 to 5 foot area, maybe even more. All right, so I wasn't catching anything on the plastics. Made a little change here. Got on a perfect size shrimp, about 3.5 foot leader line, and a popping cork. Throwing it out to this deeper water around the oyster. Trying to find the deeper water because it's super shallow today. And we'll see if we can get something to bite. Haven't seen a slick pop up in probably about 35 minutes. But that doesn't mean the fish aren't still here. Still a little bit of bait moving around. So we'll see if we can hook into something. Hopefully a nice trout for the stringer. Or a redfish would be better. No. Toss right back out. That was a different bite. That was quick. Little redfish or a trout, I'm thinking. Lots of head shakes here. What is that? Little redfish. All right. There we go. My second fish of the day. About the same size as the first one right here. Popping cork and shrimp this time. Pop this treble hook out. Oh God. Huh? Oh, and David's on right behind us. On a shrimp on a jig head. What do you think you have? Oh, it's shaking, huh? Think it's gonna be the same thing, little redfish? I think it is. Oh, it's a drum, it's a drum. Let's go, all right. You good? That's actually a keeper drum. All right, we got both the species here now. Let's see if we can get a picture right here. Both the fish. They look so similar when they're this little. They're both the exact same color. Am I recording? I don't know. I have no clue. I have a fish though. Feels little. It's a catfish? Oh, it's not. Cool, it's a trout. It's a sandy. Okay. Well, it's a few hours later right now. I'm trying to block the wind out from the phone, but we're about to head home. I think it's about noon. The bite is slowed. The water's gotten a little bit dirty. The wind has picked up quite a bit. But David has volunteered his fish for the catch and cook. So we're gonna head home. I'm gonna clean it up and I'll see y'all back in the kitchen. Y'all stay tuned. So I'm back in the kitchen now, and today I'm going to be making bacon wrapped trout, which is basically just like bacon wrapped scallops, except of course it's with trout, not scallops. So I started by taking my fillets and cutting them into strips. This is what they looked like after I got them done. Just nice, probably about 1-inch strips. The next thing I did was take the bacon and cut it in half. Once I got the bacon cut and all the fish cut up, I then just started to wrap up the fish. So I took each piece of fish, folded it in half, and then of course wrapped it in the bacon, and then just stuck a toothpick in it to hold it together. So if you get it wrapped tightly, this is what it should look like whenever it's done. So went ahead, did that with all the rest of the fish, and then it was time to put them on the pan. Once I laid them all out on the pan, I went ahead and threw on some blackened seasoning. Any type of seafood seasoning will work. This is just what I happen to have. The next thing to do is, of course, throw them in the oven. So I had the oven set at 400 degrees, and I set the timer to go off after 12 minutes. After the 12 minutes had passed, I went ahead and took them out, and now we get to do what truly makes these things special, and that is add on a little bit of garlic butter. So all I did to make this butter was just add some softened butter, squeeze garlic and Italian seasoning, and then just mix it together really well. The next step is just to go ahead and add a nice dollop of that on top of each one. And then the very last thing to finish these off is to put them back in the oven on a high broil for about 2 to 3 minutes. And this is what they look like whenever they are completely done. And you cannot tell me that does not look like a delicious bacon wrapped scallop. So you can just pull them off the toothpick and eat them like that. But what I like to do is serve them up with a little cup of butter, because as you know, butter makes everything better, and it's also good for your heart. So just take them off, dip them in the butter, and then just pop the whole thing in, and you're good to go. That is actually it for the video. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you're not already, and if you are, thank you so much. And until next time, peace.